Page Tunes Red. From the pages of Page Tunes magazine, monthly number 3, March 2024. Story and artwork by Michael Zigerlig.
The Haunted Citadel. In the tavern of Tarkin's End, a group of mercenaries gathered around a table. Each member brought their unique set of skills, ready to embark on a perilous journey into the heart of darkness itself, the citadel of Xylothrax. First among them was Horgar, a rugged warrior with scars running across his face, a testament to battles won and lost. His muscular frame spoke of years spent honing his skills on the battlefield, and his keen eyes still held a glint of adventure. Clad in worn leather armor, he had an aura of quiet confidence, his broadsword strapped to his back, ready to be unleashed at a moment's notice. Beside him sat Erduin, a sorcerer of formidable power and grace. His emerald eyes shimmered with arcane knowledge, and his long, flowing robes appeared like a cloak of shadows. With a flick of his wrist, he could conjure fire and lightning, bending the very elements to his will. Though his demeanor was calm and composed, there was a fire within him that burned bright. Opposite Horgar and Erduin sat Thorne, a roguish figure with a sly grin and quick fingers. His dark hair fell in unkempt waves around his face, and his mischievous green eyes darted about the room, always searching for opportunity. Clad in light leather armor and armed with a pair of daggers, he was as agile as he was cunning, able to slip past traps and adversaries with ease. Next to Thorne sat Kael, a stoic ranger with a bow and a quiver of arrows, all expertly crafted at his side. His weathered face spoke of a life spent in the wilderness, tracking prey and navigating treacherous terrain. With keen eyesight and a steady hand, he was a master of the hunt, able to strike his foes from afar without ever being seen. Beside Kael sat Lyra, the group's healer and Erduin's master pupil in the magic arts. Her pitch-black hair and her dark eyes displaying a wisdom far beyond her years. Armed with her arcane healing, conjuring and spell powers, but also a worthy sword fighter in her own right. Last, but not least, was Draven, a towering figure clad in heavy armor. His presence commanded respect, and his booming voice echoed through the tavern as he spoke. Armed with a massive warhammer, he was a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield, his strength unmatched by any who dared to oppose him. Together, these 6 mercenaries formed a formidable team, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in the foreboding citadel of Xylothrax. With their skills and experience, they would uncover the secrets of this ancient fortress and emerge victorious or die trying. The journey of the 6 mercenaries began at the break of dawn in the quaint hamlet with a view of the distant mountains. They stood at the village's edge, their eyes fixed on the towering peaks that loomed ominously, their rugged outlines etched against the rosy hues of the morning sky. The ascent was arduous, the path steep and unforgiving. Jagged cliffs rose on either side, their sheer faces offering little purchase for the weary travelers. Loose scree shifted beneath their feet, threatening to send them tumbling into the abyss below with every step. As they climbed higher, the air grew thin, leaving their lungs burning and their breaths coming in ragged gasps. Yet still, they pressed on, driven by the knowledge that their mission brooked no delay. Hours passed in grueling silence, broken only by the occasional slip of a loose rock or the distant cry of a mountain bird. The sun climbed steadily higher in the sky, casting harsh shadows upon the rugged landscape below. At long last, as the afternoon sun began its descent towards the horizon, the mercenaries reached the summit of the mountain pass. Before them stretched a vast expanse of wilderness, untamed and unforgiving, yet strangely beautiful in its rugged grandeur. And there, in the distance, they beheld their destination, the citadel of Xylothrax, its dark spires rising ominously against the horizon like the claws of some ancient beast. A sense of foreboding washed over them, mingled with a grim determination to see their mission through to its end. With weary but resolute hearts, the mercenaries began their descent into the valley below, their eyes fixed on the looming fortress ahead. A solemn silence enveloped them as they stood before the gates of the citadel, its ancient stone walls rising like jagged teeth against the sky. Horgar surveyed the looming fortress with a furrowed brow. "This is it," he muttered, his voice barely audible over the distant howl of the wind. "The heart of darkness." His words hung in the air, carrying a weight that seemed to settle upon each member of the group. They exchanged glances, a silent acknowledgement of the perilous task that lay before them. Together, they took their first steps each across the threshold, the sound of their footfalls echoing through the desolate courtyard. The air grew colder with each passing moment, as if the citadel itself sought to repel their intrusion. As the group of mercenaries ventured into the looming structure, they found themselves ensnared in a web of eldritch horror. Thick with an oppressive aura, and shadows danced eerily along the crumbling walls. Each step forward felt like a plunge into the unknown, with danger lurking around every corner. Their first encounter came in the form of grotesque monsters, their twisted forms emerging from the darkness with gnashing teeth and clawed appendages. Horgar's broadsword cleaved through the air with deadly precision, while Erduin unleashed torrents of arcane energy, crackling with power as they struck down their monstrous adversaries. Thorne danced nimbly between the creatures, his daggers finding their mark with lethal accuracy. But the horrors of the citadel were not limited to physical threats alone. As they pressed on, they encountered strange, otherworldly phenomena that defied comprehension. In one chamber, they witnessed visions of writhing tentacles reaching out from the darkness, their movements hypnotic and unnerving. In another, they heard whispers in an alien tongue, their words echoing ominously in the stale air. Despite the odds stacked against them, the mercenaries pushed forward, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within the citadel's depths. It was in the heart of the fortress that they faced their greatest challenge yet, a chamber filled with an oppressive, unseen force that seemed to sap their strength with every passing moment. They fought against the oppressive weight pressing down upon them, their muscles straining against the invisible bonds that held them captive. But it was Lyra with her healing spells that was able to channel their collective strength to break free from the suffocating grip of the unknown. Her efforts paid off as they finally managed to escape the chamber, fleeing into the relative safety of a vast library that stretched out before them. In their search for answers, they stumbled upon a chamber adorned with intricate carvings depicting grotesque figures and swirling vortexes of darkness. At the center of the room stood a pedestal upon which rested a tome bound in ancient leather. They pried open the tome, revealing pages filled with cryptic symbols and chilling illustrations. Among the faded ink and yellowed parchment, they found references to NYARLATHOTEP, a being of unimaginable horror and chaos. Described as a shape-shifting entity, NYARLATHOTEP was said to assume countless forms, each more grotesque and terrifying than the last. His presence was said to herald madness and despair, twisting the minds of mortals to his dark will. As they pored over the ancient text, the mercenaries learned of Dulpirh, the sorcerer who had once dwelled within the citadel's walls. Described as a man consumed by ambition and hubris, Dulpirh had sought to harness the power of NYARLATHOTEP for his own selfish desires. In his quest for ultimate power, he had delved deep into forbidden rituals and arcane lore, heedless of the consequences. But in his arrogance, Dulpirh had unwittingly unleashed horrors beyond mortal comprehension. The Citadel had become a bastion of darkness and despair, a twisted reflection of NYARLATHOTEP's malevolent influence. With this knowledge weighing heavy on their minds, the mercenaries knew that they had to proceed with caution if they were to survive the horrors that lurked within the Citadel's cursed walls. But as they prepared to face their ultimate challenge, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that the sinister presence of NYARLATHOTEP loomed over them, waiting to unleash its full wrath upon them. In a chamber adorned with faded tapestries, they stumbled upon Dulpirh's sanctum, a place of unspeakable horrors and dark sorcery. The room was filled with arcane artifacts and macabre relics, each imbued with the sorcerer's sinister influence. Skulls adorned the walls, their empty sockets seeming to leer at the intruders with silent malice. Among the clutter of ancient tomes and alchemical apparatuses, they found evidence of Dulpirh's depravity. Grimoires filled with blood-stained pages detailed gruesome rituals and forbidden incantations, while cages lined with rusted chains hinted at the sorcerer's penchant for experimentation on living subjects. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Dulpirh's sanctum was the altar that stood at its center, a grim monument to his twisted ambitions. Stained with the blood of countless sacrifices, the altar bore witness to the sorcerer's descent into madness and depravity. It was here that he had performed unspeakable rites in the name of power, sacrificing the innocent in his quest for ultimate dominion. As they surveyed the chamber, they couldn't help but feel a sense of revulsion and dread wash over them. The atrocities committed within these walls spoke of a darkness that defied comprehension, a darkness that had seeped into the very fabric of the Citadel itself. Erduin, while immersing himself in the dusty old tomes, stumbled upon a ritual of immense power, a ritual capable of sealing the rift between dimensions and banishing NYARLATHOTEP's influence from the cursed fortress once and for all. They all gathered in the heart of the Citadel's chamber, their weapons at the ready, and their resolve steeling against the encroaching darkness. Erduin, the sorcerer, and his pupil Lyra, the group's healer, began to chant the incantations of the ritual, their voices resonating with power as they invoked ancient words of binding and banishment. Meanwhile, Horgar, Thorne, Kael, and Draven stood guard, their eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of danger. The air crackled with tension as unseen forces gathered around them, drawn to the powerful magic being unleashed within the Citadel's walls. Then the chamber was plunged into chaos as grotesque monsters and nightmarish creatures emerged from the shadows, their twisted forms lashing out with claws and teeth, tentacles and tendrils. Horgar leapt forward, his broadsword cleaving through the air as he fended off the attackers with his full skill and might. Beside him, Thorne darted between the creatures, his daggers flashing in the dim light as he struck with lethal precision. Meanwhile, Kael unleashed a volley of arrows, each finding its mark with deadly accuracy as he picked off the creatures from afar. And Draven, clad in heavy armor, charged into the fray with his massive warhammer, the sound of its impact echoing through the chamber as he crushed his foes with each swing. As the battle raged on, Lyra and Erduin continued to channel their magic, their voices rising above the din as they poured their energy into the ritual, creating a bright, burning sphere of light. With each passing moment, the rift between dimensions began to shrink, its ethereal energies drawn back into the confines of the Citadel. As the blinding light subsided, the attacking creatures seeming to retreat, a chilling silence fell upon the Citadel. But just as the mercenaries began to lower their weapons, a sinister laughter echoed through the halls. To their horror, they watched as Erduin's body convulsed, his form contorting unnaturally as dark energy surged around him. Lyra's eyes widened in terror as she realized the truth too late. The ritual was a trap, a vessel for NYARLATHOTEP's return. "This one is even more powerful than the last body I inhabited," he mused, his voice dripping with dark satisfaction. With a twisted grin, Erduin's eyes, now gleaming with malevolence, locked onto his former allies. In a surge of power fueled by NYARLATHOTEP's essence, he unleashed a wave of destruction that tore through the mercenaries with merciless brutality. Horgar's sword shattered against Erduin's ethereal form. Thorne's agile movements proved futile against the overwhelming darkness, and Kael's arrows fell useless before the onslaught of Erduin's newfound power. Draven's warhammer struck true, but it was no match for the unstoppable force that now inhabited Erduin's body. With each blow, the mercenaries fell, their cries drowned out by the laughter of their once trusted companion turned harbinger of doom. And as their lifeless bodies littered the ground, the citadel once again became a stronghold of darkness, its cursed legacy sealed by the blood of those who had dared to defy it.
If you've been captivated by the magic of this audiobook, here's how you can immerse yourself even further and support the creation of more enthralling tales for your enjoyment. Unlock the ultimate listening journey with a yearly subscription on pagetunes.com. No interruptions, ad-free, and exclusive access to the full library of audiobooks and ebooks. Download and enjoy captivating stories offline, anytime, anywhere. Whether through subscription or individual purchases, you play a vital role in bringing more enchanting stories to life. Explore the merch store. From cozy hoodies to stylish mugs and much more, every purchase directly contributes to crafting more thrilling tales for your pleasure. Thank you and happy listening.